Until now, we have discussed that words can create constructions by interacting with each other in different ways. But these words and constructions can also create sentences. There are two types of sentences in Arabic: the nominal sentence and the verbal sentence. Like constructions, sentences can also be embedded within each other. That being said, we will only discuss the nominal sentence for now, as we did not touch on the subject of verbs yet. So what is the nominal sentence? The nominal sentence in Arabic is composed of a subject, which has to be an ism, in Arabic called mubtada, and a predicate, in Arabic called khabar. As you can see, there is a form of the verb to be in our translation. This is not written in Arabic and is only implied. The mubtada should be definite. That's because talking about something specific is interesting and conveys useful information, while talking about something unspecific is not. Keep in mind that there are, of course, exceptions where the subject is indefinite. The subject should also precede the predicate, and it has to be in rafa, the nominal case. Ar-rajulu has here the obvious dhamma, but keep in mind that some words are inflexible while still being in rafa. Also keep in mind that demonstratives are inherently definite. An exception to the always in rafa rule comes with the harf nasb inna, because inna is special. An ism that is forced by inna into the nasb state forms together with inna a mubtada and initiates a nominal sentence. Keep in mind that this is a special type of mubtada and needs further discussion. And speaking of two words acting as a unit, the mubtada can also be composed of a whole construction, which includes pointing constructions, describing constructions, or an idafa. However, the mubtada cannot be composed of a jar construction. This is simply not possible. And lastly, the mubtada can be a whole sentence, but only under specific circumstances. The sentence should, for example, be embedded within a relative sentence, which we know as silatul mawsul. Let's look at the following example. Inna alladhina ajramu. The harf nasb inna acts here on alladhina, making it nasb. These two now initiate the mubtada, but alladhina also has a sila, which in this case is a whole verbal sentence, and the rest then becomes ultimately the khabar, which of course brings us to the khabar. First, the khabar should be indefinite. Keep in mind that there are exceptions, like was-sabiqoon as-sabiqoon, which is a nominal sentence with a definite khabar. The khabar should also come after the mubtada, like in all the examples we had. Keep in mind that there are exceptions where the normal structure of a nominal sentence is changed for rhetorical benefit. The khabar should also match the mubtada in i'rab, gender, and number, since it gives information about the mubtada. Now it also makes more sense that the khabar is indefinite, because if it would be definite, then both words would certainly form a describing construction, because all four characteristics would match. Speaking of constructions, the khabar can of course also be a whole construction, like in al-kibaru badarul haqqi wal ghamdun nasi. Here we have two separate idafa that ultimately become the khabar. Another example would be wallahu sami'un alim. The two ism sami'un and alimun have the same four characteristics, forming a describing construction, which then becomes the khabar. However, the khabar can, unlike the mubtada, be a jar construction. Al-rajulu fil bayti. Al-rajulu is the mubtada, fi is a harf jar, and forms with al-bayti a jar construction. And this jar construction ultimately becomes the khabar. There are some key things to discuss about this kind of khabar. We will have that discussion later. Let's look at another example. Innal munafiqina fi darkil asfali. Here the harf nasb inna acts on al munafiqina and makes it nasb. And because it is special, it forms the mubtada with al munafiqina. Fi makes al darki jar, which then forms a describing construction with al asfali. Both words form a jar construction initiated by the harf jar fi, which then ultimately becomes the khabar. We have briefly talked about how the khabar should match the mubtada in i'rab, number and gender, but not in definiteness, in order to avoid that two consecutive ism form a describing construction. However, there is a way to still have a definite khabar. This is possible through separating the two words by what is called the pronoun of separation. This pronoun is placed between subject and predicate, and it allows the predicate to be definite, since these two words are now separated and thus cannot form a describing construction. The detached pronoun should of course match the mubtada in number and gender. This pronoun also initiates a new nominal sentence. The detached pronoun is the mubtada. Detached pronouns are always in rafa. Al-sadiqu is then the definite khabar, and both words form a new nominal sentence. This nominal sentence is then the khabar of the mubtada. Both mubtada and khabar form ultimately a nominal sentence. One more thing to note about detached pronouns is that they always form a nominal sentence when they are followed by definite ism. Unlike other pronouns, such as demonstratives and relative pronouns, which form constructions. That being said, the khabar can also be a whole verbal sentence. That is a discussion that we will have when we discuss the verbs.